So, yardbarker.com, weirdest name I've ever heard, posted this article that actually was proposed and originally written by an NFL analyst network. So this is a trade proposal for Austin Ekeler to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Keep in mind, the reason why this trade is even happening is because Austin Ekeler is on the last year of his contract and he wants a new contract. And at this moment in time, the Chargers aren't interested in giving him a new contract. So that means he wants to be traded. He wants to leave. He has said many times that if they give him a new contract, he'd be open to stay with the LA Chargers. And this is why I really am not in the favor / camp of saying that the Bengals should go get Austin Ekeler. Because of the fact that he's going to want not a huge contract, he's going to want a good amount of money, right? And it simply is not smart right now, especially with the Bengals about to work out a contract with Joe Burrow and T, for them to go out there and now pay another player a good amount of money. They just simply don't really have the money there. Now, could they cut Joe Mixon, save $10 million? Absolutely. Could they trade Jonah Williams, save 12.6, and there get 22.6 to be able to use toward an Austin Ekeler? Yeah, they could. It's very possible, so that's why the trade's even being talked about, because it is possible for Cincinnati to do it if they do go ahead and do those things, and they could also cut Collins and save another $8 million. So, the trade that's proposed in this is that the Cincinnati could offer Los Angeles a third-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft and see if that gets the deal done. Now, again, the only reason why, because you might say, well, he's worth way more than a third-round pick. That's ridiculous. The reason why that would get done is because, if you think about it like this, if Austin Ekeler doesn't get a deal done with the LA Chargers, then he's going to leave in free agency. And the Chargers are going to get nothing back for him. If best they'll get back is a commissary pick of a third-round draft pick. So you're pretty much just saying, okay, well, I'm going to need a third-round draft pick anyway. I'd rather get it for this year draft than wait down the line in 2 years when I end up getting it. So it's one of those trade-off scenarios. And honestly, with what we saw with, Jalen Ramsey going for a third-round pick, pretty much it seems like everyone at this point is being traded for a third-round pick. So Austin Ekeler for a third isn't really the craziest scenario of all time. Again, it really does come down to the fact that they would have to pay him a contract. They would have to, rework a new contract. And again, I don't know how much he's going to want. There's no real ballpark range. And if at this moment in time, if the Chargers aren't interested, or not interested, but if they have not given him a new contract, then most likely the money he's asking for is a lot. And I just don't know if Cincinnati wants to even take on that, hurdle, especially right before the NFL draft, where right now they're really focused on just worrying about the draft. They just started talking to Joe. They just started talking to T. There's really no actual merit to put all this other stuff on your plate. Now, let's talk about the facts here. Austin Ekeler is a really good player. Okay, he's an amazing player. Coming in here at the age of 28, he's an amazing receiving back and also rushing back. He can do a little bit of everything. He would open up this offense and completely change the game. I mean, you were talking about now you're protecting Joe Burrow. You might have the most electrifying offense in the NFL next year by far. I mean, this could be like the Lamar Jackson MVP year where Joe Burrow just puts up like 55, 60 touchdowns in a year and absolutely just goes off. I mean, you got to think, you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, obviously Irv Smith at this moment in time. Possibly you go and get, Michael Mayer, Kincaid in the draft, and now you have Austin Ekeler in the backfield. It's impossible to stop that because Austin Ekeler can catch the ball. As you can see right here, last season he had 107 receptions last season. He is a glorified wide receiver in the backfield, and he also still had 204 rushes. Played all 17 games. every single game. This guy's a monster. So you have a pretty much a glorified receiver in the backfield who can also run the ball very effectively, better than Joe Mixon. You cut Joe Mixon, you draft someone in the draft, whether or not you draft someone like Gibbs, or you draft someone like Tank, or you draft Zach. Whoever you draft, you have a 1-2 punch there. Zach Evans is a third-string guy. And now you have the most electrifying offense in football, and it's impossible to stop you. That's another scenario. And again, for a third-round draft pick, you might say, well, that's a steal. Obviously, we'll take that for a third-round draft pick. It's just working out a new contract. And, you know, he's going to cost an arm and a leg. So if they want to work out a new contract with him, I would say 1,000% yes if it is for a third-round draft pick. I don't think, personally, that they would give him up for a third-round draft pick, though. I think they would want a second and probably a second and a fifth, at least. Maybe a second and a fourth, at least. And maybe another player in return. Could you technically trade away Joe Mixon in return? That's another possibility. Joe Mixon plus the third for Austin Ekler. That would solve their problem, the Chargers' problem, not having a halfback, and it would also give the Bengals Austin Ekler. Again, you could work out all those things. Trade Jonah Williams, Joe Mixon in the third. No, I'm just kidding. Jonah Williams and maybe like a fifth for Austin Ekler. There's a lot of possibilities, but the good thing is in all this is that the Chargers are in more of a desperate spot than the Bengals are right now, right? The Bengals really, they're like, listen, we got Joe Mixon on the roster. We don't really care. Katie Blackburn came out and said that pretty much at this moment in time, Joe Mixon is a starting running back. And as long as nothing changes, he's our guy. But obviously, if anything changes, he might not be our guy. So this could be another scenario where they trade Joe Mixon. They trade Jonah Williams. There's a lot of different possibilities. Now, if they got this deal done, would it be great? Absolutely. And again, I do believe in the end they would work out a new contract with him. But this is also a trade where you make this trade, right? But here's the big fat but coming in. He's not going to make it. He's not going to accept the trade, meaning he's not going to agree to go to the Bengals until they work out a new contract with him. So it's one of those scenarios where it's not like the Chargers can be like, all right, Bengals, third round pick. There you go. Got Austin Eckler. No. Austin Eckler is going to say, listen, I want to talk to the Bengals. We'll work out a contract. Once we have a contract we both agree on, then we will make the trade happen. Because he's not going to just, go somewhere else and still not have a contract done. He's going to want a contract done before the trade happens. And then again, we're talking about that contract possibility. That could be 2, 3, 4 months down the line if they work out a contract. Right now, the priority is Joe and T. Austin is not even in the ballpark range of a possibility right now for their, talking. They got the NFL draft coming up. Too many things at once. They're not interested. That's how I kind of look at things. But again, maybe they are. Maybe they're like, listen, we're, hey, listen, Austin, what do you want? And maybe they work out a contract in a couple of days. With the Ravens, Eric DeCosta said that, every contract takes a different amount of time. Mark Andrews, the Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, it took them 3 days to come up to agree on a deal. His new contract he got took 3 days. Roquan Smith, 1 month. Ronnie Stanley, 1 year and 7 months. Everyone is different. Lamar Jackson, 5 years on and counting at this moment in time. But every single contract is different. Every single player is different. So we don't know. Maybe Austin Eckler goes in and say, hey, listen, Cincy, I want blank. And they go, oh yeah, sure, you can have that. Sign a contract. Bring him over here. Who knows? But as from a fan perspective, I would love to see this, right? I would absolutely love to see this from a fan perspective. It's just from a logistics perspective, there's a lot more that goes into these trades, especially when a player wants a new contract and just saying, take a third and we'll work out that deal, So again, I do like the proposals. I do like talking about them because they're interesting. But there's a lot more that needs to go into a lot of these things than just, listen, we'll give a third-round pick, and then, yeah. 'Cause I always see my comment section like, oh, they should trade for Austin Eckler, trade for Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler would be a absolute gem piece. But there's just so much that goes into it. Right now, at this moment in time, probably not. Maybe after the draft, though. Maybe once the draft's done, and they get this Joe Burrow contract done, and they get this T. Higgins contract extension done, maybe then they look back and they go, hey, listen, Eckler's still available. Because I don't think, in my honest opinion, I don't think they're going to give him a new contract to the Chargers anytime soon. So if that's the case, who knows? Maybe they look at him after the draft, and maybe May, June, or July, they say, hey, Austin, we like you. We're going to give them a third, fourth round pick, and we're going to bring you over, and we already have a contract worked out with you. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.